Footsteps echo through the misty night as Mary Stevens hurries home across Clapham Common. Suddenly, sharp metallic claws clamp down on her shoulders. She described them as cold and clammy as those of a corpse. A face looms from the darkness. A strange gentleman with eyes burning red, horns like a devil. And for some reason, it started kissing her all over her face in a total frenzy. And clawing at her clothes. Shocked, I am quite sure, by the sudden appearance of this dapperly dressed Victorian Wolverine, it took her a while to regain the composure to scream out loud. But when she finally did, the attacker vanished, leaping impossibly high into the darkness, as if his heel shoes were equipped with springs. Thus began the legend of the Victorian demon cryptid, Spring-Heeled Jack. We all know that Victorian London streets hid many dangers, but none were as weird as this. Was it a man or something more monstrous? Let's follow the flame-breathing shadow who haunted Victorian nightmares for decades. A creature of the streets, or perhaps hell itself. As said, this drama starts with 18-year-old servant Mary Stevens, as she was suddenly grabbed by this tall figure in a tight white leotard, some would say later, a dark cloak that looked like bat wings. And he just slobbered all over her and let out a very high-pitched, inhuman laugh before vanishing, springing himself into the fog. But hold your horses. He would return many times more. And by the end of this episode, we have theories. And hey, please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps with the algo boosting. It's free for you and it helps me so freaking much. Thank you for the consideration. Let's continue. It was actually the very next day that the same figure reportedly leaped into the path of a carriage, causing a crash and injuring the driver. Then sprang away over a 9-foot wall with impossible ease. Then came the letters, signed with a flamboyant S.H. Jack, delivered to London's Lord Mayor in January 1838. Some already then started coming up with their own theories about this madman. One claimed that Jack was actually just a creation from a bet, a challenge by a band of very bored noblemen. And that bet apparently entailed to dress up as supernatural beings and terrify the public. Whether this was some kind of psychopathic madman or a cruel hoax, I'll let you decide by the end of it. The same year that Jack sent his letter, in February 19th, 1838, one Lucy Scales, a butcher's daughter, was walking with her sister in Limehouse when a tall figure yet again leapt from the dark, and without a word he spat a stream of blue and white flame directly into her face. Lucy collapsed, blinded and choking. The assailant turned and vanished again with a single jump over a high fence. Another unfortunate lady was a 18-year-old Jane Alsop. She had answered some very frantic knocking at her door one late evening. When she opened, she couldn't actually really see what was going on because it was very dark, but the person behind the door told her that he was a policeman and that they had caught Spring-Heeled Jack. Wow, cool. And the police officer needed a light for assistance to do whatever he needed to do. Eager to help, poor little Jane handed him a candle, and that's when she saw him. Beneath the cloak was a tight-fitting white oilskin suit. He had glowing eyes again and sharp metal claws. Without warning, he grabbed Jane by the neck, tearing at her dress and breathing blue flames once again, as he always did, straight into her face. She managed to break free and fled inside, slamming the door while he scratched at the wood before again leaping away into the night. Londoners were well and truly thoroughly hooked. The newspapers just couldn't get enough, especially the penny dreadfuls. Here we had a presumed gentleman with a cap fitted with horns, a leotard, a white one, a bat cape and metal claws, who slobbered and kissed while shredding dresses of lonely young women at night. It really is the absolute stuff of front page news, if you ask me. Either way, every leap, every claw swipe, every ghastly flame that he threw out of his little mouth was breathlessly reported. Spring-Heeled Jack sightings soon cropped up in the Midlands, particularly in Liverpool and Birmingham. In 1845, he allegedly attacked and fatally injured a young prostitute named Maria Davis, hurling her into a canal after clawing at her. Though this particular story may have been exaggerated or completely made up. Even so, it was reported often enough to become part of the Spring-Heeled Jack mythology. As far as into 1877, reports from a military barrack told of a figure bounding across rooftops and slapping soldiers before vanishing in these enormous leaps. Some of the guards even fired at him with no effect. So, of course, we have to ask ourselves, what the heck? Was this really a demon, a cryptid, a very, very early, maybe the first, or just a very sadistic prankster that had glued some springs onto his boots? Some contemporary theories point out a Marquis of Waterford. He was a very bored aristocrat with a taste for cruel jokes and athleticism. His very well documented drunken escapades and habit of frightening women fit the profile. But his own demise in 1859 did not stop the sightings. By the late 19th century, Jack had faded into folklore, popping up occasionally in penny dreadful and stage plays. The last major sighting was in 1904, when locals in Liverpool claimed to see a caped figure leaping from street to street before vanishing entirely, as he always did, I suppose. A contemporary letter written by the Lord Mayor of London in 1838 discussed the clawed menace as thus: "The unmanly villain has succeeded in depriving 7 ladies of their senses, 2 of whom are not likely to recover, but to become burdens to their families." Yikes. So yeah, whether Spring-Heeled Jack was actually a devil in disguise or some gymnast with a cruel streak, maybe the fever dream of a city hungry for scandal and weird macabre things. You know, the Victorians really loved their dark, morbid tales. Either way, he remains one of the absolute strangest and theatrical predators in history. And perhaps somewhere out there in the fog, he still waits for a good, solid wall to leap over. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it's free for you, and I promise it doesn't hurt. A giant hecking thanks to my channel members and my Patreon members. You mean the absolute world to me. Without you, I wouldn't be able to survive or even have this channel, so thank you. Your contribution makes a big difference in my little world. So, as always, stay hydrated, stay amazing, but most of all, stay morbid. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye!